Thank you, Jackie. Round of applause for Senator Rosen, our host this year. It is indeed a pleasure and an honor to be back. Thank you all for participating here at the 26th Annual Lake Tahoe Summit. I want to thank my colleagues, of course, for the partnership, not just in the Capitol, but anywhere we are. We have each other in mind. We have Lake Tahoe in mind. And I also thank all of you for the work, the Tahoe Fund, the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency, and all the partners that have made this years-long collaboration and effort possible. Thank you for your commitment that goes into keeping Lake Tahoe blue each and every day. And I, too, want to thank the longest and original custodians of the region, the Washoe tribe, one of our most important partners, not just today, but every day. And I acknowledge that they've lived in the Tahoe basins for thousands of years and have a unique experience and interest in preserving Lake Tahoe for future generations. Like I said, it's an honor to be here again. Senator Rosen mentioned in my first year as a senator representing California, I had the responsibility and honor of hosting the 25th annual summit. And for those who participated, which I think is most of us, you'll remember the Caldor fire represented a direct threat, not just to the summit itself, but to the region. And I'll join in the chorus of thank yous to first responders who protected us that day and protect us each and every day and defend this precious basin. But as we reflect on the impact and the threat from last year's record wildfires, it's also not lost on us that in the last couple of months, we've witnessed an unprecedented heat wave in the region, across the country, and around the world. And today's ongoing drought in the western United States actually marks the driest 22-year stretch in more than 1,200 years. Yes, climate change is real. Yes, climate change is happening, and we must double down on our efforts to combat the climate crisis. And that's why I'm here today. I think that's why we're all here today, to celebrate this pioneering, basin-wide, by-state collaboration, and to renew our commitment to the work. The Conservation Coalition represented here today has set the standard for interstate collaboration and environmental improvement and drawn hundreds of millions of dollars to the region. From Congress to state leaders to our partners on the ground, this is the manifestation of it takes a village. It takes a village, and it takes a bold Congress that has passed more landmark legislation than anyone thought was possible given our thin Democratic margins. Now, as a member of the Senate Environment and Public Works Committee, I'm proud to report that the Senate passed the Water Resources Development Act of 2022 and that it includes the specific provisions for Lake Tahoe. We were able to include in that package provisions to authorize the planning, design, and construction of urban stormwater treatment facilities, water science, and environmental restoration here in Lake Tahoe. I was proud to secure $269,000 in the most recent federal appropriations bill for Lake Tahoe Community College to support their training program for the next generation of forestry students through the Lake Tahoe Basin Fire Academy. And thanks to the support of the Tahoe Fund, we celebrate that students will be eligible for scholarships to continue their education. And we're just getting started. As we look ahead to the next decade, we know that we need continued and coordinated investment to address the intensifying threat of climate change. We need to build on the successful programs addressing invasive species, forest die-off, and water clarity. Now, just this last month, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service awarded $3.4 million in funding from the bipartisan infrastructure law that was passed last year, signed by President Biden last fall. It was another landmark achievement for this Congress, and it supports a cooperative agreement with the Washoe Tribe and the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency to combat the spread of aquatic invasive species in Lake Tahoe. It will also support further public outreach and education programs about aquatic invasive species and investments in permanent inspection stations. And this $3.4 million is just the first installment of a total of $17 million over 5 years secured in that bipartisan infrastructure law. But again, we must do more. Climate change is truly an existential threat for the Tahoe Basin and for all of our communities. The urgency of this moment cannot be overstated. And so I couldn't be more excited to be here just days after Congress has passed and on the verge of President Biden signing into law the Inflation Reduction Act, the single largest investment to address the climate crisis ever. Now, the legislation is big, the legislation is bold, and I believe it builds on the climate leadership demonstrated by the state of California. California's investments in climate, both short-term and long-term, has helped put the country on a path to dramatically reduce emissions over the next decade while lowering energy costs and improving air quality with specific care for disadvantaged communities. The Inflation Reduction Act also includes billions of dollars that we help secure to address catastrophic wildfires and historic droughts in the West. And as Senator Rosen mentioned, $5 billion in grants to support healthy, fire-resilient forests and forest conservation. This bill will allow us truly to protect forests and protect communities like Lake Tahoe. Now, this act marks a significant shift in America's commitment to protecting our planet and our natural resources for our children and for future generations to grow up in. See, it is our responsibility, I know that we all embrace, to safeguard our environment so that our children and future generations don't grow up in a world without access to green spaces, but with access to green spaces and natural wonders like Lake Tahoe. So I'm proud to work alongside Senators Rosen, Senator Cortez Masto, Senator Feinstein, and all of our partners here today in these conservation efforts so that all families, present and future, can experience the beauty of our public lands. Thank you all again.